I'm Dr. Duke with The New American, and this is my take on the news. Well, we've reached that point, ladies and gentlemen, after all of these excruciatingly bad debates, all of these second-class candidates, all of this forced diversity represented on stage for the Democrat primaries, all of this social justice identity politics, you've now boiled it down to one man. And it looks like, barring something catastrophic, the Democrat nominee who will take on Donald Trump in the fall is Joe Biden. And that is an interesting choice. Now that all the other candidates more or less have vanished, this brings up the reason why Biden wasn't the man from the beginning. There's a reason why. And I remember when this whole nasty process started over a year ago, Biden seemed to be the logical choice. Biden seemed to be the person everybody was talking about. Joe from Scranton was going to be the guy who was going to bring us back from Trumpism. And then the entire Biden edifice cratered. Why? People forget this. It cratered because of Joe. It cratered because of his politics. It cratered because of his mannerisms. It cratered because of the scandals of the previous administration, the Obama administration. It cratered because of his intemperance. It cratered because of his old white male baggage. It cratered because of his questionable behavior with regards to women, his attitude towards minorities. So now all the women and all the minorities and all the saviors, right? The Elizabeth Warrens, the communists, the Bernie Sanders, right? All that array from Pete Buttigieg and his first homosexual to be the president to Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, all that's given way because what the American people have found out, that their brand of social justice posturing, racial conflict studies, all of this America's evil and wicked, and the fact that Americans in reality don't want to become socialist, Marxist, communists. All those candidates and that beautiful array, right, of racial and gender difference and sexuality difference, it's gone now. Because in all of those debates, the one thing these ugly debates showed us, and showed us very clearly, is that these people have nothing more than identity politics. Really, what is there to Pete Buttigieg behind the unaccomplished Pete Buttigieg, who's been a mediocre mayor of a very small middle western town? There's nothing to recommend this guy except the fact that he would be the first homosexual gay male elected to the presidency. Kamala Harris, really, who evidently slept her way to the position that she has. Cory Booker, Spartacus himself, and Elizabeth Warren, the fake Indian who stole an affirmative action job from a minority and profited on it and then lied about it repeatedly? No. Identity politics, and then Bernie, socialism. There's a reason Bernie outlasted the identity politics warriors, because his brand of socialism is something that young people take seriously. Take away miseducated college kids over the last 10 years, Bernie has no momentum. And that's why he burnt out so bad. Bernie burned down because people started paying attention who weren't 22-year-old potential Antifa recruits, and adults started voting, and he's gone. That gives us Joe again. And now it's time to remind the world repeatedly for the next 6 months why Joe Biden cratered to begin with. Let's start with the hypocrisy of the Democrat left. Let's start with that. Because we've heard for 4 years all of these things that Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is a racist. Why is Donald Trump a racist, according to the progressive left? Well, don't forget, this is the same Donald Trump that was winning awards from the NAACP in the 90s, right, when he was not political necessarily. In fact, this is the same Donald Trump who, being a real estate mogul in New York, was very cozy with Hillary Clinton. Democrat politicians own Manhattan. And in order for Donald Trump to be able to do business there, he had to be in good relations with them. So why is he a racist? Because of a demonstrably altered video from the Charlotte protests a couple years ago. The famous one where a quote-unquote white supremacist drove his car into a group of people. And from that moment, Donald Trump condemned both the left-wing anarchic agitators who brought that violence on and the right. The radical right, the neo-Nazis, right, who in a very small number occupied that protest. Altered film shows that Democrats have made Donald Trump say something he never did. Donald Trump never said there are good people among the Nazis and among the radical left. He didn't say any of that. But on the basis of that clip alone, the left for 4 years has hammered Donald Trump for being a racist. And yet, here you have their now nominee, Joe Biden, who is the same guy who called Barack Obama as a candidate, one of those clean, articulate blacks. Not the typical black, right? The lowly educated, the illiterate, the unable to speak. Barack Obama is one of those clean guys, right? And articulate. The same Joe Biden, who actually said, talking about Indian American immigrants from the subcontinental India in his home state, talking about how you can't walk into a 7-Eleven around here without finding an Indian person, right?
The largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
It's a stereotype of Apu right from The Simpsons. Or how about how, when he was talking during the Obama years about, they're going to put you in slaves with his fake Southern accent, right?
They're going to put you all back in chains. He said he's going to do nothing about stopping the practice of outsourcing.
Seems to me you have a doctored video that's all you needed by the left for 4 years to accuse Donald Trump of being a racist. You got actual racist statements. And I didn't even quote all of them. Go back 30 years and look at how Joe Biden is politically incorrect, if not downright racist, in the way he does business. How about women? Right? Donald Trump is supposed to have said, grab them by the blank once. Apparently, he didn't grab anybody by the blank, right? There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of women out there trying to sue Donald Trump for sexual harassment, unlike Bill Clinton, right? There's no bimbo eruption in Donald Trump's campaign. All these women saying he did this, he groped me here, he did that. Meanwhile, you've got Joe Biden, right? Who is a hashtag #MeToo nightmare. How much video do we have of Biden groping women and creepily standing behind them and rubbing their shoulders? How many little girls does he bend over and try to kiss on the cheek? You can just see these little girls recoiling in horror from this guy. We have a video lately where he was smelling some toddler, a baby that was held in the arms of some poor guy that went to one of his rallies. There's Joe leaning in real close and sniffing the guy. So Donald Trump is a hater of women and a misogynist because of one comment that he was reputed to have said. Regardless of the fact that there's no evidence that he really did harass anybody, you got Joe then. You got Papa Joe Biden, who has got his hands all over women every single time you see him. See the hypocrisy here? For the Democrats, the pretend racist Trump must go to be replaced with somebody who is documentedly a racist in his behavior and comments, Joe Biden. Trump is a misogynist, right, because he said demeaning things about women. And then you got the hashtag nightmare Joe Biden putting his hands and groping women left and right. Oh, and let's talk about money. Donald Trump is an illegitimate president because he inherited all his wealth. He's a 1%er and he's got all the benefits in his life. We're not electing people like that anymore. And so who do you turn to? Joe Biden, who has made a fortune off his political career. Joe Biden, whose sons have made fortunes out of corruption, paid $1 million a year to do what exactly as a chair? A quote-unquote chair for some company in the Ukraine? Give me a break. Donald Trump's the plutocrat, but your answer to fighting plutocracy is Joe Biden. And how about, most seriously, mental condition? We've heard for 4 years how Donald Trump was a disaster. He is not in any way, shape, or form mentally competent. You got professors of psychology saying that he's a danger to himself and others. He's a threat. You have Hollywood celebrities challenging his basic recognition, his basic mental qualifications. For 4 years, we've heard this. Donald Trump actually took a specific test that is designed to demonstrate brain function in older adults, competency. Aced it. He even took the test and aced it. Meanwhile, you've got Joe Biden, who is a walking, talking gaffe machine.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing. By the way, it's my little sister Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh no, you switched on me. This is my wife. This is my sister. They switched on me. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other side. Give me a look, though, okay? Because we cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. We can only reelect Donald Trump.
Here is somebody that clearly, from the spaced out look in his eyes, to the fact that he can't distinguish in a speech between his wife and his daughter, the fact that he doesn't know what state he's in, what time it is, the fact that he doesn't even know that he's running for president of the United States, actually confusing his run for the presidency with his rerunning for Congress, for the Senate. This is a guy who has early onset something. I won't use the A word. I won't use the word Alzheimer's, but clearly this man is borderline dementia right now in his attitudes, his behavior. And what is the Democrats calling for? Clyburn, now that he won the primary, more or less, let's not let him debate. Let's not let him talk, right? Because they know. The Democrats know. So all the things the Democrats said they hated about Donald Trump, almost all of it was made up and pretend, is exactly what they are electing in Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Duke with the New American. Think about that for a while.
You know the thing.